Hey everybody, it's Amanda with Leadership Training Academy. I'm here with Keith, and we are discussing today when you do get a lot of students, what do you do next? So there are, if you're on any type of social media or you have a mailbox or a telephone, then you're getting calls, emails, text, mail, social media blast about how to get more students.
Right.
People are trying to sell you, how do you enroll more students? How do you enroll more students? Flood your school, all these things, which is great and is something that we all want to do. We all want students, but nobody's telling you what do you do when you get 50 new students, in
Right.
45 days, or 100 students in a short amount of time. Then what? How do you keep them, and how do you make sure that they are receiving that same training? When you've got 10, 15 kids in your class and they're all getting your personal attention, that's great. When you've got 30, 45, 60 kids in class, and now you cannot be that personal, yourself as you used to be. There's that balance, and that's what I want to talk about today is, okay, I got all these students, now what? How do I keep them, and how do I provide quality service?
Yeah, absolutely. And we want to make it easier to enroll students into your academy by having a clear um, way of teaching leadership and a clear delivery of of how that happens. Um, but yeah, we're not focused. There's plenty of stuff out there for you guys to use for marketing and filling up your school. Our mission and our passion comes, and once you do have all of those students and you're feeling that success, how do you manage that and how do you manage the classroom? We were talking earlier, uh, chaos does not sell.
No.
Sometimes it is a little bit of controlled chaos, if you have 40, 50, 60 students in a class at a time. Um, but yeah, what having a one of our most favorite words is intentional. So sorry if we said it too much, but having an intentional system in place that is constantly developing leaders and instructors and volunteers.
Right.
That is something that we are passionate about, and we also want to help others develop that system as well.
Yeah, I don't think I told you. I mean, you just kind of took the words out of a parent's mouth. But last week there was a class that had about a little over 40 students in there. It was a beginner's class, and the instructors were there teaching, and the parent came out and said, it seems like it would be so crazy in there with, that many kids, but everybody was learning, everybody was, practicing what they needed to practice, they were earning their stripes. She goes, I don't know how you guys do it. That's awesome. I wouldn't expect to walk into a room of that many kids and see it be controlled.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I can teach 50 kids by myself.
Right. i've seen
Um,
i've seen you do it.
and and that's, with lots of experience and years teaching, I don't want to do that. I don't want to teach 50 kids by myself. I for my sake and for the students.
Right,
We
absolutely.
want them to have good instruction, as much one-on-one as we can. But we also want to grow and have that size. And I do like a big class. I love the energy of it. So we just have to make sure that we have the help in place to make sure everybody gets um, a good amount of instruction and critiquing and that one-on-one time. So that's what we want to talk about developing for your school.
And I think, when we opened the academy, it was what, gosh, 27 years ago, something like that. The one that we run now here in
Hmm.
Johnson City. Um, it was very easy. You open the doors, you have the students come in, and it's very easy to build a personal relationship with each one, with each parent. And you have this tight family, and everybody comes to the summer picnic, and you just kind of grow that way. But then as you grow, and especially if you do a big marketing campaign and you grow quickly, um, you can lose some of that. and that's one of the things that I did not want to lose as we grew. I didn't want to have somebody feel like they weren't part of that family or that they weren't getting individual attention that they needed. So, I began developing, I guess recreating myself, if I could, say that, somebody that would have the same attention to detail for instruction, the same compassion for the person to help them with their needs. And so learning how to develop other people to be able to handle that. And now, last week when you have a class of 40 plus, and you've got at, a couple paid staff, but then you also have, a slew of volunteers that are learning how to be instructors, not just your 16-year-old green belt who you said, hey, come out and hold this target, but a 16-year-old green belt who's been through, 50 or 60 training sessions on how to hold that target properly and what to say to the student if they're doing it right or doing it wrong. Now that good things are happening on the mat, and it doesn't have to be just you. Now I still love that. I still love getting out there, and I'm still out here, 3 to 4 days a week, because I want to be building those relationships and letting the students know I'm here. But I also have this amazing team that, that we have developed through a systematic training program to make that possible.
Yeah, and so, and just to kind of paint a picture, give an example, that of a process that we have worked on for decades. I had a class last night of 40 kids, beginners, and it was myself teaching the class, and we had two part-time paid instructors, and then we had 3 volunteers. So, six instructors on the floor with 40 kids. That's 6 to 7 students per instructor, which is just a wonderful ratio.
It's great.
That definitely don't like to get more than 8 students per instructor. There's times where it's 8 to 10, but that 6 to 7 is a sweet spot. It's a really good amount of instructors to have. But we had our the 2 paid staff have been with us for over 7 or 8 years.
Right.
They've been through our junior leadership program, our teen leadership program, where they begin learning how to be an instructor. And now they're 16, 17, 18 years old, and they work for us now. They've been through the entire system. They're great instructors. They can do so much on the floor. So we have 2 of those on the floor, and then we had 3 volunteers. These are some of them have just expressed interest in becoming an instructor, and so we start putting them through the volunteer process where they have to get some hours learning to instruct and getting that experience, building that confidence. And then some of them were adults that their class is actually right after, and they just enjoy assisting and teaching and giving back. Again, we have a system for those volunteers as well. So instead of having 5 paid staff on the floor, we have 2 paid staff and 3 volunteers, and we have a wonderful class, plenty of help.
And that's not including you.
Right.
I mean, you're the instructor of the class, and you have all that support.
Right.
And I think that's like a dream situation, but that's our everyday.
Well, it is, and it didn't happen by accident.
No, it didn't.
So, and I think that's
No.
it didn't. These people just didn't show up on accident and then get lucky and okay, I got some help today.
Yeah.
No, this was planned. It was scheduled. Our instructors, we saw the potential in them years ago and started developing them. The volunteers, some of them approached us about volunteering, and we approached some others. And yes, it's was planned way before that, and we're always planning for the next set of instructors.
Right. It's part of our program, just like learning how to do a front kick and how to learn how to do the next move or the next belt. here's how you become leader step 1, leader step 2,
Mhm.
instructor step 1, instructor step 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to have that in place too, when especially when somebody comes to you and says, hey, I'm interested, what do I do? And you go, here's the plan. You
Yes.
start here and we're going to work you, and they feel confident with that, like, okay, so I'm not just going to get thrown out there. My first step is to do this, and my second step is to do that, and here's the training time where I come and learn how to do all of that.
Mhm.
And so those lesson plans, those outlines, all of that stuff in our leadership training program it's done, it's been done, and we still do it.
Right.
And even in instructor training this week, we were going over, some of the things we've hit a million times, but there's new people in there. And so you have some mentorship and you have people learning, and it
The
just works. It works.
the process never stops. And one thing I've heard this story time and time again. And if you're a school owner or instructor, I know you have as well. You might have experienced it yourself, but you're training, you fall in love with martial arts, and then one day the instructor asks you to teach a class. Well, then that's your class for the rest of your life.
Right.
And so I think we've all seen that or felt that at some point. Or someone asks how do I become an instructor, and I don't like that to be the answer to that, to be well, I think let's have you come here and try to assist with a few classes, or let's just have you try to teach a class and we'll just go from there. It's very unorganized. It's we like to say, no, here's the path.
Not to mention, it's not good for the student.
Right. No.
I don't want just anybody up there in front. It's our name on the building.
Right.
It's our face on everything.
Absolutely.
And the person that's teaching, I want them to have the experience, from us on
Right.
how to do that properly.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not good for the student. I don't like those stories where a parent comes to me and says, your guy on the floor said this to my kid.
Right.
I don't want the days like that.
No, definitely not. And so on our Zoom calls, so we do Zoom call every other Monday, working on implementing these different leadership programs. From your junior program, we start at age 4 teaching leadership. The earlier the better.
Right.
Our junior program, our teen program, our adult program, and we discuss these things in depth, and how to implement ways to make your life easier as an instructor and school owner.
Right.
That's our entire focus.
Yeah, easier with the same quality.
Right.
Or even better.
Right.
So yeah. I would like to wrap up with that scenario that you mentioned again about your class that you had last night, where you've got you teaching, two paid staff that are here part-time, that have been through training, 3 volunteers. So I like to think of it as a savings account, especially you have this savings account as for emergencies, right? Anything that comes up, you're not going to be wipe out your checking account. You've got money there to take care of it. So on any given day, somebody could call in sick or have a flat tire, or they're on vacation, like summertime right now, and anything could happen. So you could lose a paid staff member or yourself for that instance. The volunteers, maybe their brother and sister team and their mom couldn't bring them that day, so you've lost that. So you still have enough quality people to get that class run right, and they know how to do that. So that's where having those extra people on the floor, maybe you don't want your volunteer who's been training for 4 years on how to be an instructor to have to teach the class, but in a pinch, they could.
Yeah, absolutely. Our goal is to always have way more help than what we need, and maybe not present, but available.
Available, that's right. Like you could call them and say, hey, I know Thursday's not your day, but we're running a little short, could you come in? And you've got 5 people to call.
Right. Right.
Not just that guy.
Right. Absolutely. Just developing the plethora of instructors and help, assistants, volunteers. That's something that we've just really focused on, keeping that process ever going. It never ends. Even when we have more help than we know what to do with, we're still making more instructors and more leaders
Oh yeah.
and stuff.
So yeah, it's just like you're still putting money in the savings account.
Right. Just
Absolutely.
keeps on going. So, and I mean, there's been times where it's, we don't have as much as we want, and sometimes those are quick little reminders of, hey, we got to keep our eye on the ball. And I would say that doesn't happen as much anymore, but there definitely were some times where we were, we had help, but man, if one person was sick or you lose one person, the team really feels it.
Right.
And that's our goal, is to not ever be in that position.
Not to have those growing pains.
Right. So as you're growing your school and your academy, start this process now, and that way, if you go from 50 students to 100 and you double, and then you go from 100 to 150 to 200, you're just if you can start this process early, you're gonna make your life, you're not gonna have burnout, because you're gonna have help and people to share the workload with.
Right. And then also, if you're at that point where you're 250 students and it's you and one other person to answer the phone, this program can help you get that started right away and get your volunteers out there.
Yes.
and get you some support on the floor very quickly.
Yeah, literally from day one of using our program and our system, you can start learning how to get volunteers on the mat. You can start implementing the leadership program at the end of your
Absolutely.
classes and things like that. So day one, like
Yep.
immediately. So if you are a school owner, if you are an instructor, and you're have experienced some of these problems and headaches, we want to help you, so please reach out. We have our email in the description below.
Right.
And we have some more things coming for you guys. But if you want to jump on a Zoom call or learn some more information about our system, please reach out. So we're happy to talk and chat with you and see if we're able to help you.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you.